What's up, everyone? So, hi, I'm Parang, and I'm going to be breaking down my Roku trade from 20th of January 2020. So, it was a very quick scalp, and I took Roku on the short side. That is, I bought put contracts, and there was a very simple reason why I did that. I had a very brief plan which I followed, and I want you all, whoever is watching this video, I want you to focus on one very important thing, which is whenever you're scalping options with size or whenever you're scalping anything in the financial markets with size, you need to know what you're doing. You need to have a plan. And when you're doing good size or big sizes, or when you're trading with a large number of lots or shares for that matter, you need to be very precise with your executions because that's what matters at the end, right? So today's Roku trade was a short scalp on the downside, and quickly I'll walk you through to the charts, and I'll tell you why I chose Roku and why I chose to even choose that particular strike which I chose, and how I got in, got out, and how I executed well, and why I did not re-enter it in even after me knowing that this stock is going to fall more. So let's jump into the charts and let's try to understand and learn what are the some mistakes that I did and some of the good things that I did, and ended the trade on a green note, and it was a $750 profit in Roku. So let's jump straight into the charts, and let me share my screen. So this is the Roku chart. So now, if you look at this is the 1 minute, right? So before I can explain why I shorted Roku somewhere around here, it's important for you to first understand that what was Roku doing on a daily chart or a larger time frame, right? So if I look at the daily chart, and if I see Roku has been very bullish, and the reason is due to the pandemic, a lot of stay-at-home stocks did really well. So for those of you who don't know what Roku is, Roku basically is a set-top box maker. So basically it's home entertainment, and it basically tries to merge Amazon Prime, Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu, and all the other subscription services into like one pack, and it's basically an add-on to your TV. So it's a great tool for marketers to actually market products or bring out advertisements, which Netflix or other some of these services do not do. So yeah, that's a brief about the product because you need to know what it was doing. So now on the daily chart, you can see it broke out of this range real good and with decent volumes, and it was just gapping up. So at this particular point, it was just testing the previous day's high, and it actually gapped up. So now, why did I short something which was very strong? It had two reasons. So number one, if I look at the 5 minute, okay, if I just switch to the 5 minute, what I can clearly see. So I'll just tell you where I actually shorted this and why I even thought of shorting it. So look at the previous day. Okay, so what happened is a real good opening drive push, a very volatile consolidation, I would say, and then again it tried to push up. Then it could not hold this level throughout, so it came back down and it was just hovering above the VWAP. The price action was dead here, so that's something that I was looking at. Now, after this thing happened, like after this day ended, it is important for you, and it was important for me to understand that Netflix came out with their earnings. So I did a blunder in Netflix, like I did not take that trade properly in the sense that I did not close it. I'll make a video on that. But what happened is after Netflix announced their earnings, Netflix showed immense growth in subscribers. So what that means is more people are subscribing to Netflix, and Netflix even raised prices in the US. So that adds up to the revenue, and that basically increases margins for the company. So now how does Roku benefit from it? Is that since Netflix, if there are more subscribers of Netflix, if stay at home or over the top streaming is actually doing really well, these stocks have sympathy momentum with them. So what I could see is it gapped up even after hours. So this is after hours. So just after the market closed and Netflix announced their earnings, the stock popped up. So I was actually looking to trade a break over these after hours high. So if I just draw a horizontal level right here, if I just draw a horizontal level right here, so somewhere around this place, right? So exactly this place. So it's important for you to understand what actually happened around this level. So just a moment. So this is precisely the place where I was actually looking to go long on Roku after it takes that level out. So now what do I mean by it taking that level out is that I want all the sellers or all the people who are actually resisting the stock to move up, I want them to clear out so that buyers can actually push the stock really well. So but what I saw right off the open, and this is where it's important for you to be mindful. Okay, so now you have a bias. You know Netflix has strong earnings. You know Netflix is strong. You know other OTT services are strong. Everything is strong, and now suddenly what you see here is that after the first 5 minute candle to close was a rejection. Now, what happened here is I started to see the tape. So I did not want to get into Roku right off the open, but what I clearly saw was this. Okay, so it basically got rejected badly at this price, and it then started to retest this. Now, again, as soon as it just about to, it was about to close at this price, it started getting sellers again. So I got in somewhere around here, the third 5 minute candle. And now it's important for you to understand this, that once I see that there's a bad rejection here and this retest also failed, I also saw the VWAP moving down with the price. And I had to ignore that Netflix was strong. I had to ignore that all the OTT stocks were strong. And I had to ignore the fact that Roku had been on an exponential up move since the last 5, 6 days. So I just thought that I would be scalping it and I would be playing it on the downside. So now if I'm playing it on the downside, what am I looking at? So when I saw this particular candle happening, I could see this as a very important zone. Why this was an important level? Because the first push that it had yesterday, it stopped here and then tried to make a base over here. So my first area to take profits would be this. So around 433 levels, I entered around 438 levels, and I would want to book some here. And the next leg, if it starts to break this, this is the place where I would book profits. Below this, I will not, even try for Roku to go or to hold my trade, because I know this is going to be very strong because it started, at the close. Look at the buying momentum which happened here. So definitely there's a strong buyer sitting here, or maybe a couple of buyers sitting here. And whenever this thing was broken, Roku actually retested this really strongly and was closing above this. So this was my plan, right? And let's see, let's go into my executions and let's see how I executed this. And one more thing, one more important thing for you to know is when it is coming down from here, it's very easy for the stock to come back and fill this gap. So essentially, if you ignore the aftermarket movement, this was the place at which Roku closed, and this is the place at which around which it opened. So now it is very easy for it to fill that gap, and that gap fill was what I wanted to play. So let's switch to the executions part and let's see how did I execute this and what was my PNL, right? So $725 was the PNL on 20th January. Roku was the stock, and these are the executions, right? So here, what you can see is all of my executions. So you can see $1,117. So this is not what I booked. This was unrealized, and when I actually booked my profit, it was somewhere around $725. Now you would think that why such a big difference? Like why did you lose out on 30% of your profits? That was because it was my plan. I wanted to see if Roku was holding that particular level, which I showed you. I'll show it again. If it broke that level, and since it was just one day before expiry, I knew I could be rewarded handsomely, and that's why I wanted to just let it hold. I wanted to see price action around that level. If it's not moving in my way, I'll just get out. I had my trailing stops, right? So this is my execution. So $8.24, 5 contracts I got in, right? So you can see 5 contracts here. So around 56,000 rupees was the investment for one lot. So I invested around 3 lakh in 5 lots. So around $4,000 was my investment, right? And these are my executions. So 945 I got in with 5 contracts, right, at $8.24. And 951, 6 minutes, I got out at 970. Now this contract went up till $14, but that's something that I would ignore because that was not my plan. So if you can see here, the return is only 27% because my investment was $4,200. And the reason why I only scalped it is because I had a huge investment. I could not afford my PNL to swing, and I had to be very precise in whatever I was doing, because there was a huge chunk of my capital. So it's approximately 10% of my capital as an investment. I never do that, but for scalping, I take heavy positions if I'm really sure about what I'm doing. So these are the executions. So 9:45 I entered and 9:51 I exited, and this is the PNL. $725 was the PNL, and this is again the execution. So let me switch back to the chart at what happened around 9:45 and why I exited at around 9:51. There's a mistake that I made, and I'll share that with you as well. So let me switch to 1 minute right now so that I can see what's happening around 9:45. And okay, so somewhere around here. Okay, so somewhere around here. So this particular candle which I saw, right, this particular candle. So what I was watching is it had already come off, and this was a strong rejection, right? And VWAP was again flattening. So once this candle happened, I wanted to see if it takes out these lows, the base that it created in the morning. I wanted to see that if this was not a shakeout and it's actually interested to move down. So what I did was at around here, at around this point, 9:45, this particular candle, as soon as it broke the low, and as soon as I saw that 435, 436 bids were getting taken out, I entered with 5 lots, right? And around this point, just around this point. So when this particular candle made a low here, I told you, right, in the starting of the video, that if this gets taken out, Roku has a lot of room on the downside, because if you just look on the 1 minute chart, right, if you look at the 1 minute chart right here, after this is taken out, this is the level where Roku could have potentially gone, which is 426, which is again a $4 move from here. So $4 more would have probably given me $2,000 to $3,000 more on my trade. But what happened here is what's important. So what I saw was once this hammer actually formed, and at this particular point, I was watching the tape really nicely, and I was seeing that there shouldn't be any sort of buyers or any sort of bullishness right here. So as soon as I saw this, as soon as it just pulled in a little bit, I exited my trade. Now within this $2 move that actually happened right here, the premiums actually moved really quick. Now why did the premiums move really quick? Because the implied volatility was very high, because Roku was just dumping from the top. So once Roku was at this point, yes, I was up $1,200, but I did not want to book it. I wanted to see if there is more continuation on the downside. But what happened is there's a big candle here, and then I according to my plan, I did not want to exit right here. I did not want to exit right at the flush. I wanted to see what's happening next, and then again another candle was formed, but it was with not a lot of volume, and that's the reason why I knew that this is probably going to hold here for a while, and that's why somewhere around here or here I exited all of my gains, like all of my trade. I closed everything. Now again, then what happened is, look at this. So this is what I missed, and this is what's the mistake that I did. Like, I knew that this level is going to be very important, and see, if I didn't exit here, my premiums would have been just jacked, right? So now what I can see here is, once this stock broke this, and since this level got like super weak as a support level, I wanted to go short, but unfortunately I was watching something else, and I was not really at the screen that time, so I couldn't short it the way I wanted to. But still, I'm happy with how I performed and how I executed. The only thing is, my sizing could have been much higher. I went in with low size, and see, exactly at 426. So this is the exact point that we were referring to earlier, right? So if you just draw a horizontal line right here, and if we see what's that exact point, it's just, I think, the previous day's low where Roku stopped. So have a look. So this is exactly precisely the place at which Roku stopped and stopped from falling. So this is something that shows you that Roku really respects the levels. And there's one more thing, right? So there's one more thing. Roku is not a heavily traded stock, in the sense that it's not as liquid as Netflix or Amazon or Tesla, right? So you need to understand that even Netflix, even Roku options, when you're trading, you need to be very sure that you're choosing the right strike. So when I did buy puts here, I bought in the money puts. So my puts were $435 puts, which were in the money, and I bought them because I know out of the money puts in Roku can be a very difficult task to execute with size. So if I just go to my executions once again, this is what you'll see. So you can see $435 puts expiring on 22nd January. So this is why I went in the money, and I wanted my IVs to not cross 90%, because if IVs cross 90%, you're basically paying much more than you should. And I was really happy with the delta and theta as well, because that's what I wanted. I just want a quick move, and that's how in 6 minutes I was able to book around $725 in Roku. And yeah, that's it from my side. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. For more such content, please consider subscribing to the Havenspire YouTube channel. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.